Strange fruit hanging.
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Beezy. So, I just want to start this shit off by saying not everything is the way it seems on social media. And I think we all know that. Everyone's life just looks so perfect. Chris and Shanann Watts were no exception to this.
So excited, I'm thriving with you. I am confident, I am determined, and I'm successful. Hey guys, we're here from the boat today. I'm grateful. Can you see it? Isn't it so fun to watch someone take off their makeup?
If you went look on her Facebook, it would seem like she had the perfect marriage, beautiful kids, the big house, just living her best life. In reality, there was a lot more than meets the eye, which led to a real shitty ending. So let's talk about it. A little backstory here. Chris Watts was born on May 16, 1985. A native of North Carolina, his teacher said he was one of the smartest students he ever had, with a photographic memory and a passion for automotives and NASCAR. Shanann, who was outgoing and social, was also from North Carolina. She had dated a law student named Leonard. They got married not long after she graduated high school in 2002. He became a public defender and she became a store manager at an auto repair shop. She poured herself into her work and it didn't really seem like she had much time or interest in maintaining the marriage. They were basically both living two separate lives. They even went to counseling together, but she refused to open up. They didn't really fight, but it's like she just mentally checked out of the relationship. And after 5 years, they got a divorce. Now, see, personally, I don't really get this shit. Why even be in a relationship, let alone marriage, if you have no interest of putting in the work to keep it alive? Different strokes for different folks, but I just think it's a shitty thing to do. She kept burying herself in work and was careful with her money, eventually buying land in Belmont, North Carolina. She built a home on the property and was doing all right for a 25-year-old. But her health wasn't all that great. Shanann referred to this as the darkest time of her life. She kind of felt like she was all alone because she didn't really have the energy to kick it with anybody. That summer, Chris had mutual friends with her on Facebook and decided to slide in them DMs. He thought she looked like a 4-course meal and he was hungry, you heard me. And I'm sure she was like, whatever, another thirsty ass bitch.
Guys, we're here from the boat today.
But after they talked a little while, she was like, let me throw him a little bone and go on a date.
Well, one thing led to another, and he's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
The lie detector determined that was a lie.
He went on their first date looking pretty rough, so she wasn't too impressed. But on their third date, they were supposed to go to Myrtle Beach, but she was feeling sick because she had lupus. She said she kept rejecting him and canceling plans because of her condition, but he still stuck around. So she was like, damn, his ass must be for real. And after a few months of dating, things got serious. So they invited both of their parents over for a barbecue. Her parents seemed like they were really happy for him, but his parents, it was kind of a different story. See, Chris didn't date much, and his mom wasn't thrilled that he had a little boo. She also wasn't happy that Shanann was married before, and didn't think that she really loved his ass. So her parents were like, great, this woman's gonna be a barrel of fun. Now, I'm not a psychologist, but I don't need to open my eyes to know there's a bag of shit in the room. I can smell it. And you know I'm a straight shooter. Pew pew. In-law drama is one of the top conflicts of married couples. It's said that men choose to protect their mother over their wives because they see their wife as stronger, so they should be more understanding. So that's a recipe for disaster right there, because of course the wife is going to feel betrayed. Shanann clearly could see that his family was toxic, and his mom Cindy really just did the most. Like, bitch, stop breastfeeding your son. He's 25 years old. After about 8 months, he proposed to her, and they needed a little break from his crazy ass mama, so they went and visit some of her friends in Colorado. She really liked the area and didn't want to go back home. Chris was a homebody and he didn't really travel much, so she was trying to pop him out of shell and do new things. She was thinking fresh start away from the bullshit. So they decided to move out to Colorado. And his parents wasn't too thrilled about it. No shit. But he was like, bye Felicia, and they moved. He started working at a Ford dealership, staying with their friends until they got a legit place. And she ended up getting a job at the same place as him doing sales. Their boss really loved them, but kind of noticed some shit. Chris was super passive and she was always bossing his ass around, telling him what to do, just really running shit. And ain't nobody got time for that. All their friends and family noticed the same thing, just running his ass like a marathon. Now here's where I'm about to school y'all ass again. It's said when men and women fight, the man's blood pressure gets higher because they usually have less tolerance for bullshit, so they usually just avoid conflict. That's just toxic. Just because nobody fighting don't mean the relationship's great, you dig? Some fights are necessary, and if you blow them off, that just means you're giving up part of your personality. So basically, he was just running around being her little bitch, agreeing to whatever she said so things could run smoothly. And that might work for you in the short term, but you gotta think about the bigger picture, and I could only imagine the amount of resentment he has growing for her ass. So we're gonna hit that with a red flag. They're getting set up in Colorado, but they gotta head back to North Carolina for the wedding. In 2012, they got married. They had a nice little turnout, but somebody was missing. Oh yeah, Chris's parents. His mom said she just didn't like Shanann's ass. She felt like she took her son away, but they try not to let the drama bother them, and about a year later she was pregnant. And she was really happy because she had all these health problems, so she didn't even think she could get pregnant. It was like her life was really coming together. They had purchased land to have a house built while waiting for the baby to be born. On the outside, things seemed perfect, and she was on social media posting about shit every step of the way. She even had this online diary dedicated to her pregnancy, titled The Journey of Bella Marie, saying how excited she was for the baby and she couldn't wait to go shopping for her. Halfway through the pregnancy, she had a closet full of clothes for the baby, always posting things she bought for the baby with captions like, "Couldn't help myself." But meanwhile, they're falling into serious debt. They had a brand new mortgage, thousands of dollars on credit cards. She went back to school to be a nurse, but never finished. So then you got them student loans. So speaking of this, couples who deal with serious money problems are 3.5 more times likely to experience domestic violence. I'm sure Chris was stressed the hell out. He didn't have any control over the money whatsoever because she didn't trust him with it. Apparently, he had sold his truck for less money than he owed on it, so she immediately took money privileges away from him. He couldn't even deposit his own paycheck. He had to quickly hand it over to her. She ended up taking a job at a call center of a children's hospital and started a little side hustle of selling handbags. But regardless, they were still struggling and about to have this new baby. Bella was born in December of 2013. She posted all kind of pictures of the baby and them doing family things together. But again, social media is a damn lie. And shit just got worse less than a year later when she got pregnant again. The pregnancy was hard on her and physically put her through a lot. Chris went to look for a better paying job and got a spot as a field coordinator at Anadarko Petroleum. But it still wasn't enough to get them out of debt, so they ended up filing for bankruptcy. The monthly expenses for their mortgage and car payments exceeded like $4,000. They had $9.51 in their savings and about $860 in their checking. Soon after, Cece was born. Her parents even moved to Colorado for about 15 months to help them out financially. In 2016, Shanann started selling Thrive vitamin supplements. She was pretty good at it and always on Facebook promoting and selling shit. The way she looked at it, her family was part of her brand. So she would post pictures of Chris saying how he was losing weight by using Thrive. And he said he did it to support her, but he hated being on camera. Her job did have perks though, and she was able to take her family on vacations to places like San Diego, Las Vegas, New Orleans.
Our flight to Miami. We're going to Toronto in June.
Documenting everything on Facebook the whole time. A research was done that showed that high levels of Facebook usage is correlated with a negative relationship. relationship. Shanann was constantly online to make sure she had this internet presence to sell her products. But if you online all the time, you really think you keeping it 100? Because I can promise she wasn't talking about her money problems. She did touch on her kids' sickness a little bit. They had allergy and breathing problems, which caused them to go to the doctor a lot, which equaled medical bills. And of course, Bella had to be in a private school. A little bit over 5 years of marriage, this shit is about to hit the fan. Shanann was pregnant with her third child and posted the video of the reveal on Facebook.
We did it again. I like that shirt. Really?
Really?
He seemed happy, but he was already catching feelings for another woman around this time, Nicole Kessinger. She worked at the office of his job. At the time, he wasn't wearing her wedding ring because he was getting it resized since he lost all that weight, and didn't mention shit about it either. When he finally did bring it up, he said they were in the middle of divorce, and she was like, all right. He ended up asking her on a date, and he went hiking together. He was usually a really quiet guy, but he seemed to open up around her. It was nice not to have to walk on eggshells like he did around his wife.
I'm having a wonderful time. You mean a lot to me, and I'm glad that you're having a blast. I am so out of breath.
Shanann could feel him pulling away from her, but she was so involved with having the new baby that she didn't think too much about it. She had planned a trip to North Carolina to go back and see her family and his for about 6 weeks. He was going to stay behind since he had to work, but he was going to join them for the last week there. So you know Chris was thinking like, turn up. He started spending more time with Nicole and he started hooking up. Cole said she felt bad about it since he was still technically married, but he said shit only looked good on the surface and he didn't even have a voice in his own marriage. And that's what kind of drew him to Nicole, because she let him speak for himself and have his own voice. The way Shanann was trying to make that life out to be was lies and butterflies. She had to have the big house and nice things and always keeping up with appearances, and he didn't care about any of that. Meanwhile, she was spending weekdays with her family and weekends with his family so that everybody could see the kids. But you already know it didn't take long for shit to get real between her and Chris's mom. One day, his mom was scooping ice cream for the kids. Shanann said the kids couldn't have it because there were nuts in the ice cream, and the kids had a deadly allergy. His mom said there wasn't nuts in the ice cream, but there could have been cross-contamination in the factory where the ice cream was made, but it shouldn't be a big deal. And this caused a huge fight between them. She went on Facebook to bitch about it, and his mom blocked her. Meanwhile, Chris and his little side piece were living it up, taking trips to places, just living life. He ended up going out there to meet her and the kids, but things just felt different. He said that he was scared to have a third kid and didn't like the constant fights between her and his parents. She was really sad and helpless about it, but she knew something else was up. The family went back home, but she had to travel to Arizona for a business trip. While she was there, Chris took the kids to a birthday party and sent her pictures about the good time they were having. She got back to the Denver airport late and got a ride home from her co-worker/neighbor, Nikki, getting home a little bit before 2 a.m. He was already asleep, but she climbed into the bed and got a piece. He said the sex felt weird, like it was some test to see if there was still something between them. They fell asleep, and when he got up to get ready for work, he woke her up to have a conversation. He said he didn't love her anymore, and she threatened him that he would never see his kids again. That's when he blacked out and choked a bitch. Bella came into the room with her blanket and asked what was wrong with Mama, and he just said she wasn't feeling good. He took off her wedding ring and wrapped her up in a sheet, backed his truck into the driveway and put her in. By this time, Cece got up and he put them both in the truck with him. He drove them to an oil site and strangled Cece in the back of his truck. He took her body up to the oil tank and opened up the hatch opening that was about 8 inches wide and put her inside. Bella asked if the same thing that happened to Cece was going to happen to her. He suffocated her too and put her in the other oil tank, then dug a shallow grave next to the oil tanks and put Shanann's body inside. He waited about an hour for his co-workers to show up, feeling like he can get away with this as long as he acted cool. He started working as normal but made several phone calls, including his kids' private school to say they would no longer be attending, and contacting his realtor about selling the house. It didn't take long for that neighbor Nikki to know something was up, and this bitch is really the real MVP, because when she tried to check on her, she got no response, and she noticed the car was there, but nobody was answering the door. So she called Chris like, what the hell's going on with Shanann? And he's like, oh, she's good. She just went on a play date with some friends. But she wasn't buying that shit. She was like, yeah, okay, I'm calling the cops.
We were out of town for a business trip this weekend.
Right.
And I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She's 15 weeks pregnant. She wasn't feeling well. And she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9. And I told her to let me know if she needed me to take her. She's got 2 little girls. And she was very distraught over the weekend, wasn't eating normally or drinking, and we kept trying to force it on her because she's pregnant. Her husband and her supposedly are separating.
And he was like, oh fuck. So he threw away the blanket he killed the kids with and changed his clothes. Also texting his side boo that his family was missing. All before showing up at the house. So when he came home to meet the neighbor and the cops, he was saying the same shit about her being on a play date. He also said they had an emotional conversation and showed the cops that she left her wedding ring behind. He let him search the house and ended up finding her purse, wallet, cell phone, medication, literally shit that nobody leaves behind. He gave an interview begging for his family to come home, which was really just the icing on the cake.
I hope that she's somewhere safe right now and with the kids. Somebody has her and they're not safe. Like, I want them back now. The kids are my life. I mean, those smiles light up my life. Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody. I need to see everybody again. This house is not complete without anybody here.
After all this shit went public, Nicole was probably patting her head like, damn, maybe I need to go to the police before they think I'm involved.
He didn't have a wedding ring on his finger, and every time I talked to him, he didn't tell me that he was in a relationship. He didn't even mention his kids right away either. And then one day he told me that he had 2 kids. Well, I just realized that he was lying to me, and I was like, well, if you can lie to me about this, what else are you lying to me about?
Did you ever say anything to him about, like...
Never.
Anything about his kids being a problem? Anything about his wife being a problem?
Never. This shocked me just as much as I think it shocked the rest of the world.
Technically, she didn't really do anything besides be a hoe. Her coming forward showed that he'd been lying about shit. But they didn't tell him anything about that until he took a polygraph test, which he failed miserably. He finally admitted to the affair, but said he didn't have a damn thing to do with anybody dying.
Do you know where Shanann is now?
No.
They kept putting the heat on him, so he asked to talk to his dad. Basically saying that Shanann hurt the kids, so he killed her. And his dad was like, damn, I didn't really care for her ass, but I didn't think she was gonna do all that.
Did she kill him? They're blue. Both of them, yes. She took both of them then. I forgot to Jimmy.
He faced 3 counts of first-degree murder, terminating a pregnancy, and tampering with a deceased body. A few weeks after he was arrested, he just let it all out and said he was responsible for killing everybody. No shit. But even after admitting it, his family still claimed to his original story. Wake up, motherfucker. He got 3 life terms. And you would think the bullshit would be over by now. But random people started coming forward saying that they also had affairs with Chris. Such as this person.
Some of the stuff you're talking about is pretty hard to believe. And we're getting to the point where we're wondering if you're wasting our time.
I mean, is there a question? Or, I mean, I don't know how you want me to respond to that. I don't know what else you want me to...
These are the challenges that we have, right? You told us that you watched the video over and over. Okay, so we know that you're aware of everything that's out there. And all you've talked about are things that anyone else knows. You haven't brought forth any information. You're having sex with a guy in his car and you don't know anything about him other than what the public knows about him, okay? You took $60 from him. You were self-admitted booty call. And so now we're wondering if you're a hooker who maybe blew a guy who was a murderer and maybe feels guilty about it, or maybe feels like you're going to get in trouble about it. I don't know what's going on with you, but I don't know why you're here tonight.
No, I'm not a hooker.
It clearly turned out to be lies, but with everybody so fascinated of the story, they just wanted to be a part of it. Bottom line, Chris harbored a lot of resentment for years over being bossed around and not receiving what he needed from a relationship. And I think all that rage just got the best of him. I'm not condoning what he did, especially to the kids, but it's just interesting to witness the gray and not just the black and the white. So don't kill your family, don't lie to police, and get the hell off Facebook. Because sometimes it be like that. Thank you, McKenna, Troy, Annie. I appreciate the support. I'm gonna keep the videos coming. Till next time.
And now a word from our sponsors.
What's your favorite scary movie?
And I was convicted for being the father of this country.
You're an inhumane bunch of fucking living bastards and bitches.
I mean, we just don't know where she is.
Don't close the door. And in that instant, the gun went off.